It is the 10th anniversary of the finale of Rick Riordan's series The Kane Chronicles, centering on Egyptian mythology. And in a collaboration with other fantastic Percy Jackson creators, I will be explaining which one magical scene spoke to me the most in the series. Now, in a book trilogy, the first book should be an introduction to the characters and the world, with a satisfying end but with some room to expand. In the second book, the characters and their relationships become more complex, and there's a cliffhanger setup, which often gives the book a darker tone. And in the final book, that setup and every other element and loose string is resolved. In my opinion, the second book is often overlooked, but in Rick Riordan's Kane Chronicles, Book 2, The Throne of Fire, is masterfully executed. Rick Riordan is well known for his ability to smoothly weave together mythology and his storytelling. And he does this in The Throne of Fire by having Carter and Sadie, the two main characters, take a journey through the Egyptian underworld, or the Duat, as described in ancient Egyptian manuscripts like the Book of the Dead. And this journey through the dark land of the dead mirrors the characters' own personal trials, losses, and the rise of primordial chaos that sets up the final book. Go read the Kane Chronicles, it's really good. After a perilous journey up to the House of Rest, characterized as a retirement home, Carter, Sadie, and Bess race to find Ra, aided by Taweret, the hippo goddess. Like all good climaxes, there is a time limit. If they don't find Ra fast enough, they will get trapped in the Duat. This theme of time comes in later as well. Throughout this part of the book, there's a mounting sense of dread. Sadie starts to notice how all the other gods in the House of Rest have lost their minds a bit. And there's also an important conversation between Carter and Sadie and Bess about his relationship with Taweret. "It's too late," Bess said. "I've hurt her too much. I wish I could turn back the clock." Turn back the clock, the theme of time coming in again. Anyway, this emotional conflict adds to the climaxing tragedy. After this, Sadie realizes the only way they will find Ra if she starts the spell now, which will hopefully guide them to him. However, if they don't find Ra, the spell will blow up in her face. But they find Ra and perform the opening of the mouth ceremony on him, and they wait and watch to see him regain his former glorious self, but he remains as a senile old man. The group do hold out hope that Ra will be reborn as Khepri, the scarab beetle of the sunrise, if they make it out of the Duat. But it is disaster after disaster. They took too long in the House of Rest, and time is up. They are trapped in the Duat. Feeling defeated, Carter, Sadie, and Bess arrive at the 7th house, the Egyptian afterlife, where Osiris rules, aka Carter and Sadie's dad. If you've made it this far into the video and you haven't read the Kane Chronicles, then you must be pretty confused, but I promise you it's good, you should read it. Anyway, they are greeted by their mum and dad in their old family home, and the emotion, it's high at this point. This moment of defeat is temporary, but it gives the story a chance to breathe and fill in the characters' emotional gaps, and in that sense it's effective. And at this point, the god Khonsu enters. Khonsu is an interesting god. In Egyptian mythology, he gambled with the goddess Nut, in which he lost 5 days worth of moonlight in which she could birth her children. It's a long story. So just like in mythology, he agrees to wager enough moonlight so Carter and Sadie can cheat time and get through the gates of the Duat. However, it must be wagered against their wrens, their secret names, which shows the nature of their soul. Basically, an extremely important piece of information about a person, which is explained and set up earlier. They do get the moonlight that they need, but Bess sacrifices his wren and becomes no more. It's yet another tragedy which Carter and Sadie must endure. And that for me is why this moment is so good. It puts forward a message not just of straightforward bravery, but one of continued perseverance in the face of ceaseless disasters. In other books and media, the hero's journey is usually actually quite simple. But in The Throne of Fire, Carter and Sadie have to suffer repeated losses of morale until they are quite alone facing the end of the world. The book does end slightly happier, but there is definitely a sense of more trials to come. So that's my one magical scene in the Kane Chronicles. Please go check out the other creators' videos and channels in the playlist in the description below, and I'll see you later.